All right, a public service announcement. This is likely to be, I'm not guaranteeing, I'm saying likely to be the final coverage that I'm going to do on the Libero Financial ecosystem. And the reason for this, there's a couple, but the main reason for this is an interaction I just had in the Telescam for Libero Financial with the mods. And of course, the mods, I can tell, are not the devs. I've called that out as a risk before. When the devs are not the ones interacting on social media, it tends to create really problematic things. I believe that the Libero Financial team is doing the best they can to make this thing succeed. I think that they've invested enough time and energy in it where they're working as hard as they can to make it successful. I believe that they are victims of their own design. Many of you that listen to the show have called out that you appreciate that I was covering what I'm covering because it helps to simplify. I've said I believe they suck at explaining what they're doing and what's the big picture of it. And so you've said, we appreciate, I even had somebody in the Telescam recognized us and said, no, yours helped me make a decision that it was what I wanted to do. So we worked hard to try to clarify and do the explanations that they frankly suck at. And I say even now, I think they suck at it, but I didn't understand if this was intentional or language barrier, or if there was something else that caused why there was such suckage. I still don't have the definitive answer. I can only speculate. And what I came up with is what told me I probably should hold off on making any further coverage for Libero Financial until and unless they reach out to me as I've requested of them. So this interaction in Telescam, this whole thing, this deal with LIBERA is scheduled to go live tomorrow. They put a countdown on their website. Now, I picture this in my head, similar to Black Friday, because what I see happening, the LIBERA is going to be on centralized exchanges. The problem is that the Libero team cannot control the actions of these exchanges, like Bitmart, and Bitmart's had a whole bunch of problems in the past with other cryptos. DigiFinex isn't even allowed in the United States. I think LBank was one of them as well. I'm familiar with LBank. And I was asking, what I normally see with other cryptocurrencies is that the exchange will put out this flyer on their support site that says, hey, this crypto's coming soon. We're going to do this airdrop of rewards to celebrate their arrival. And they'll do this whole dog and pony. And then this usually gets emailed to people on the exchange, which drives up hype, but it also lets people get in and say, okay, I'm going to start shifting my currency over so I can get ready to purchase this that's coming because I like the way it's described. And I was trying to figure out why I had not seen any sort of this on Bitmart or any of the other ones when I've seen it on so many others. And one of the mods came back and basically says, well, he didn't explain it correctly, but suffice it to say, in this case, LIBERA technically does not exist yet. So because it doesn't exist yet, they haven't really, quote, launched it yet. There's no liquidity. There's no nothing. So since they haven't really, quote, launched it yet, there's nothing really to announce. And he said that the exchanges have kind of an internal policy against doing that because they're trying to make it, quote, fair. The problem I have with this response, though I know he's probably correct, is that it's not fair if you've told people on your site that it's coming on May 7th, quote unquote, and you have this countdown on your website that looks like it's going to be roughly about 7 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. And what I envision happening, because again, when I think of how people respond on cryptocurrency, I'm thinking of people outside the crypto bubble, not the ones inside it. You've heard me on every video. I think many of these devs are so much in the bubble themselves, they can't picture the struggles of people who are not in the crypto bubble. So they're building based on the assumption of the bubble, not outside of it. When I try to reach out and help them, they don't respond to me. And I'm talking the devs here. So I'm trying to explain that there's got to be some way that we can let the people know and reassure them this is going to be on the exchange. They're saying, well, it's on our site. But that's not enough, because that would be the same thing as me saying, as Sony, right? Well, we got PlayStation 5, it's out, but you are not telling when the stores are going to have stock. On that first launch, I'm saying. After that, it's on the store. I'm talking the very first day launch. When are the stores going to receive that first inventory of a thing? So going back to my Black Friday analogy, out here in the United States, at least, the Black Friday is a stupid rush of a bunch of parents who wait at the stores and trample each other to try to get these toys at some arbitrary fake discounts. In this, it's like they're waiting at the doors and they don't even know if the toy's even there. They don't even know if the store even carries it until they're already in the store. So they wasted a trip to the store, which causes them to do what? They go on social media and they make up a bunch of stuff that fuds the project and harms investor sentiment. And as we know, when they start chatting this on social media and spreading the word that it's a quote FUD, or that it's a lie, or that it's a scam, or that's a whatever, this spreads like wildfire because people have been conditioned to believe that it must be true, especially since Libero is on the Binance Smart Chain as LIBERA is expected to be. And you heard me on my video about this strange emu that Binance Smart Chain has predominantly more scams than any of the other chains. So everything is working against these guys. Couple this with Seifu from the car salesman sends out in Discord saying, Libero's dead. Look at the chart. It's dead. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a pump and dump. We told you it's crapped out. All because they had ceased the auto liquidify, which did not allow the project to properly stabilize its own price. It was still paying people, but because of no auto liquidify, it had to dip a little bit for them to build LIBERA, and they didn't communicate this outside of social media. I put all this together. I was telling them, all I'm asking you guys to do, because if it's true that the exchanges cannot announce a token that doesn't exist yet, fine. All I'm saying to you is put in big bold letters right underneath your clock that you have on your site, we can't control when the exchanges will actually go live with this. We have no control over when they turn on trading, or even if they do the same day. They might not turn on trading until the 8th. The problem is, if you don't put that disclaimer somewhere near that freaking clock, I guarantee you're going to have a bunch of people, likely from the Seifu crowd, who go and they wait for that thing. 3, 2, 1. I went to Bitmart's, not there. FUD, crap, it's crap. This is a scam. It's all scam. And it's going to spread like wildfire. And then you're not going to get the initial interest that you expected to get off this thing. Will it recover? Sure. And then the response was, well, they FUD us all the time anyway. That's a defeatist, I'll frankly sorry say, bullshit attitude. If you're just going to give up and say, well, because they FUD us anyway, we're not even going to try to better communicate. This is what told me that they're in the bubble. They're thinking in the bubble. One of them, I believe his name's Achilles, at least conceded, I understand the point. I'll send it, see what they say. It shouldn't even be up for debate. I'm a software developer. I've also done web development. It takes them arguably probably about less than a minute or two to simply add this verbiage. And if they were not in the crypto bubble, they would see logically why it makes sense to simply add disclaimer, cover your ass verbiage that says, we can't control what the exchanges are going to do. We are going to release it to them and ask them to open it for trading. We can't control when exactly that's going to happen. They'll let us know when they're ready to go. Then we'll tell you, don't come here at midnight 12:01 on May 8th or May 7th, expecting that you're going to be able to do this trading. We don't know for a fact. You'll have to check with the exchange and feel free to ask them. And likely they'll tell you, cover your ass with some basic verbiage underneath that clock. I wish they hadn't put the clock up there, because the same garbage happened with Lily Finance and so many other ones that it seems like the token devs are too busy trying to bank off the hype, the build up to a certain time of release, even though we've seen time and again that every time you do that, it never goes well, because you're setting false expectations in the minds of the people outside the crypto bubble as to something that's going to happen. So I decided, I left the feedback best I could, trying to help them. And I've said before, they won't talk to me. I'm trying to help them because I'm trying to help them mitigate. This is going to have initial FOMO. There are going to be people FOMOing in to buy this crap because it's constrained inventory on the exchanges. I argued, again, L-Bank is going to have some significant jumps. Bitmart's going to have some significant jumps. And I'm trying to help mitigate some of the FOMO by simply adding some CYA verbiage that says, don't expect that you're going to go to Bitmart exactly on the second when this ticks down to 0 and be able to trade. We can't guarantee that's going to be the case. just cover your ass. Act like a business. That's all it's about. Act like a business. With what you cannot control, tell your customers this is outside of our control and we're just giving you FYI. I don't know if they're going to take my feedback and do it. I strongly doubt that they will, based on what I got from the mods. I was going back and forth, and then one of the other investors, who basically is the defeatist bullshit, that I'm not playing. So the reason this is likely, not guaranteed, but likely the last coverage that I will do is because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't even speculate at this point. All I can tell you is that I gave them feedback. There's going to be FOMO on this thing. There's going to be a bunch of people trying to FOMO buy on the exchange. One of two things will happen. Either the exchange will launch right on time, like they're supposed to, right at the crack of dawn, or there's going to be a delay of some kind because they still have to do setup after they launch. Like I suspect maybe they launch and then it takes the exchange another day or two to launch. I certainly hope not, because if that happens, you're going to see on social media a bunch of calls that Libero is a scam, which is what I'm trying to help them avoid with some CYA verbiage. Whether they take that advice or not, I can't control. But what I never want to do is steer you guys into potentially buying in with this happening if they don't have a CYA. I can tell you guys, and again, I'm pretty sure anybody who listens to my show on a regular basis is very intelligent. You're very intelligent people at the same time. It's perfectly reasonable, because of the way they presented it, to expect that you're going to be able to just buy it right off the jump, especially because I said buy out the exchange. Many people are going to be doing that to try to beat the price going up, because we expect the price is going to jump. They said themselves it's expected to go up 28%. So that means that people are going to be trying to get in at the lowest price possible. If the exchanges don't tell you when the thing is coming, that means you're not going to be able to get it at the lowest price. That means you're going to miss the initial pump. Is it going to keep pumping? Who knows? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it craps. We simply don't know. What I never would want is that you bought in and then you get subject to this crap because you weren't told that the exchange is going to be delayed today. Meanwhile, people that were already in the exchange that had some bot running knew that it was there and then bought, jumped the price up to the point that by the time you got in, it's already dumping. I'm not telling you what to do or not to do. I'm not telling you whether to buy it or not. I'm not telling you that it's a scam, because I don't think it's a scam. This strikes me as they're so confident. Like, I've seen them actively reject bots and shills. I watched them reject this. So I'm pretty sure they're so confident in themselves, almost to their detriment. It's ego, that they believe that they've got it covered and they don't need anybody else's help. That's likely why they haven't responded, because they're just kind of going gung-ho, not worried about asking for help. If any of them listen to this, or anybody in the community listens to this, or any of the mods listen to this, I'll tell you this much. I watched Libero because I was in off the initial pre-sale, and I watched this price movement. I took for profit because I knew where it was going. I've been in since day one on that, and I've got stuff locked in Libero Bank for the 4 years because I saw the strong long-term potential. However, I also saw how the graph moved where you started losing those people. No longer were you seeing significant amounts of people buying into the project like you did before. I suspect that this is a loss of sentiment because of all the other stuff that's happening. I suspect that all the different tokens coming in are confusing people, and it's harming sentiment further. I suspect that what's going on here, and a total resistance to take 1 minute to add a bold line to that clock. If something happens and those exchanges fail you, I suspect we're going to see more loss of investor sentiment, possibly irreparably. And I would like to see that not happen, but I can't convince. So that's cool. I won't try to convince. It is what it is. It will be what it will be. Que sera, sera. Take this as strong advice. Certainly don't YOLO. I've said that. But I said also don't worry about wrapping up front, because you're going to get nailed on the fees. If you do want to buy in Libera, I'm going to tell you that you should treat it as you're buying in for long haul. If your mentality is you're trying to arbitrage, you're trying to basically exploit the price pump and then make some profit, it's on you if you choose to do that. I am strongly recommending against it, but it's up to you. At this point, I don't think I can help them any further. I don't believe that I can be of any assistance to the community any further. unless they're willing to talk to me and actually come down off whatever high horse and say, yes, we've been going full steam. However, the community has told us you have great ideas and you want to help us. We're listening. We're going to stop pushing back on you. We're going to stop with the, dismissive bullshit. We're going to stop with the defeatist attitude. We don't want the FUD. We don't want that. We want to help get rid of it. We're listening. Yes, we see that you did this much coverage. Yes, we see that you're trying to dumb it down for people that are paying in. Yes, we realize we're stuck in a crypto bubble. Yes, we need help to think outside of that bubble. We're listening. Let's have a chat. Until and unless that happens, I don't believe that I can be of assistance to the community anymore, because I don't want to do a disservice to those following my show, steering them potentially in a disastrous direction. That said, if I do get to hear from them and they get off the high horse and they acknowledge that they need help, because they do. It doesn't matter if they're short-term successful. They need help because they're not thinking outside the bubble. If they're willing to talk to me, then I'm happy to do the coverage. I'm never going to do shill. I'm going to call it like I see it. And in this case, this reaction created a risk for me. Not a risk of pump and dump, not a risk of, rug pull or honey, none of that, but a risk that people are not going to be able to do what they want to do because all they keep saying is go to the AMA. You should have read the AMA. We put the AMA out there. It's in the FAQ. People outside the bubble don't think like that. People outside the bubble go to a search engine and they hear about this Libero thing and they see there's a search hit and they click it and they scroll the page and they see where it says, we're going to be on Bitmart on May 7th. And then on May 7th at 12:01, they log in their Bitmart account. And if they don't see what you were told that they should see, they're going to run to social media and they're going to call you liars and fudders and scammers. That's what I'm trying to help you avoid. If you don't want that smoke, frankly, there's nothing I can do to help. Because I see it as a risk, and I'll call it as a risk. We'll see what happens. I strongly hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, because what they're doing is unlike any other crypto that's out there. And I don't want to see silly mistakes. I've already seen the issue with the Phantom Libero, which I was taught was a critical mistake. I don't want to see another silly mistake, and I want to help. They're not listening to me. If anybody in the Libero community is listening to this, it's yet another impassioned plea. They've got to understand they are in the crypto bubble and they can't see the forest for the trees. And as long as they do that and they steamroll ahead with these decisions, they're going to cause a harm to investor sentiment, especially given now. It's getting worse. The scams are getting worse and people are getting sketchier, and you're not going to draw new money making poor decision after poor decision. And at some point, people are going to stop playing the game, and we'll get to the point like we got to Epic Hero where people just stop investing. And I don't think anybody wants that, because I do think that they're doing something that is signature. I can't do it without your help, though. I can't do it without you guys' help. I'm one voice. I need multiple voices telling these people, look, you guys need help. You guys, because listen to what I'm saying. We know there's going to be FOMO because it's a new something. I said it. It's a new something. It's going to be on exchanges. Everything that goes on exchanges gets the initial FOMO pumps and dumps. I'm trying to help mitigate it. I believe there's still a backstream value, but I'm trying to help protect people that might get tempted to go in there and they don't see it, and then they cause unrealistic social media negative sentiment because they feel like they were lied to or misled or that it's a scam, especially when you got the Seifu car salesman cult fans over there spreading that same garbage through their media. And no, I'm not going to just dismiss it and ignore it as well. Everybody FUDs anyway. You know what? Screw it. Fuck all that. That's not acceptable. And I won't tolerate it. Certainly not on my watch. So if they don't want to fight, if they don't want to present like a business, then there's no value in me doing the coverage for it, because that means they don't want my help. And I'm not going to push my help on any project that doesn't want my help.